All right, so we were left off yesterday. We went ahead and we shaded all of our forms except for the cone, so we're going to work on the cone right now. So, and then we're going to turn that sphere into a soccer ball. So our cone, we're going to go ahead and shade from this side, because our light's coming from this opposite side here. So we're going to go ahead and shade here. We're going to wrap around from the corner, and we're going to make some curved lines that come down this edge. You don't want to go more than halfway of this cone with these lines. And then once we got that, this is our light side, so I'm going to go ahead and lighten up the line. You guys just stop the video as you need to, because I'm going to go kind of fast. And then we're going to shade this up from light to dark, and we're always going to go in toward the corner. So we're going to shade this in nice and light, and as we move across, we're always going back to the corner. And as we get to this other side, we can press a little harder. And I'm going to go ahead and go back, and we'll just like that. And once we've got that shaded, you can erase, of course, anything that does not belong in your work, such as I did. And then you can add a little bit of shading underneath this part right here, in the front part, in the top part. And then I'm just going to go ahead and blend with my fingers, so I'm just going to go back and forth here, stay in the shape, go back and forth, up and down, I mean, stay in the shape, up and down, stay in the shape, and blend that up. And once that's blended, I'm going to go ahead and erase anything that's on the outside, and then I'm going to use my eraser to make some details. So we're going to start off with some curved lines that are going to kind of curve this way. This is going to curve down. This is going to come here, curving around, and then start to curve down, curving around. And it looks something like that. And then we're going to go the opposite way. So these will just kind of curve like this. This is going to curve like that. This next one's going to start curving around and then down. Curving around and then down. So never using straight lines. We want to use curved lines. And this is so we can get like a little waffle cone. And once we've got that in there, what we can do is add a little bit of detail to these little, pick up a little shadow in there. Just on half of it, half of these squares here, and that picks up the little shadow in there of light. And now your waffle looks like a little, your cone has like a little waffle cone. Then we're going to add shading on the inside. Don't touch the top line. We're going to make like a really thin parallel line there. And then this is going to curve around like a C. It's going to touch the bottom. So you make like a little C shape in here. And then you're going to just pull out some lines, long lines, short lines, and then back to long lines. That way what you're left with over here is still like a little C in there. And then you can shade the rest of it really light, or you can just fill it in with your lead like this. And that's basically our cone. And then we turned the soccer ball into, the sphere into a soccer ball. So in order to do that, you got to go ahead and draw yourself a pentagon right in the center. So we're going to, 5 sides. It's kind of like drawing a house. Like when you draw a house, you do something like this. It's got 5 sides, right? But instead of going straight down here, we're going to kind of come in a little bit so that we can get that pentagon shape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw myself a little pentagon here because I'm drawing a soccer ball. And these go in a little bit, and then we connect. And I'm going to shade it in because it's going to be a black piece of the soccer ball. And then from here, we're going to pull out a line that's going to curve this way. This one's going to kind of curve like that. This one's going to kind of come this way, curve out, something like this. And then each one of these has a pentagon on them. So we're going to go point, point, a little in, a little in. All this is dark. And then go point, point, a little in, a little in. This is all dark here. Point, point of the house, a little in, a little in. That's going to be dark here. Point, point. And it's going to catch a little bit there, and this is a bit shaded in. And then we go point out, in, and all this goes shaded. And then this point connects over here, I believe, so we're going to make it round, curve to there. This one connects to this one. We're going to curve a little, curve with a, and these look like they're not going to show, so this looks like it goes here to here. This one's not going to show, it's like on the line. So, oh man, I didn't show that whole time. Well, that's what it looks like. You draw your pentagon, curve this out, curve out all of those. Then these are the pentagons. Sorry about that. Just do your best. Points, comes out. Sorry, I didn't look at the screen. I didn't know I wasn't showing. That's great. I'm not redoing this. And then once we go from here, we want to make these look like they're on some kind of landform or something. This pole, we went ahead and added a landform around it. It looks something like this. And we kind of came in, went like this. Did the same thing on this end. Something like that. We went ahead and dropped a line right here. Dropped a line right here. One there and one here. We shaded around here to make this look like it has a little bit of a shadow on here. Something like that. We went with our finger and we smudged on the top, on the line. That kind of creates a little landform there, little value. Since this was on the ground or in the ground, we made this dark, and then I made some cracks like this. And we just made sure it was nice and dark in here. And then we added a couple of lines to this part. So we went ahead and shaded down. This is just kind of to give a little bit of feel for the height of this. Give a little texture to this as well. And then just smudge this down, blend it downwards. On this third dimension here. And erase anything that doesn't belong in here. Then we put this on a shape. Something up here, so we went ahead and put a line right through here behind the pole. Two parallel lines actually. Something like that. We connected them here like a rectangle, and then we took this line back here. We made a line back here, and we did something like that. Stop right there, and this came to hit with that. So match that up right there. Created a little bit of land there. Again, we smudged on the line to kind of give this a little bit of value. And here, we added some lines in here. So this wouldn't look just like the pole. give a little depth, a little texture to the third dimension. Now we added a little shading to it. Put a shadow from the stove, so we made this dark, the bottom line dark because it's on the surface. And we added a little shadow coming from the corner, so it's going to come this way. And of course, it's just on the top of the surface. And blended that shadow in nice and blended. And then the last thing we did was we wanted to do something with this cone, so we made another landform over here. So above the point of the cone, we went here, and then we went to the opposite side and we went across. We had this curve like this. We'll do that. We did the same thing over here. Curve this down, curve that down. Shade it over here, underneath. Shade it underneath. Put a little shading on this back line, so it really stays sort of by itself. We blend it on here, so it came down this way. Put some lines going down, give it some texture. We blend that. And then, of course, you're going to erase anything that doesn't belong on the outside that's floating around. Wherever this little cone is touching, so the bottom of my cone is right here. And I just added we added a little shadow of the cone. Smeared that out. So blended that in. Now that looks like it's on a surface too. The only thing that was not on the surface was the soccer ball. So we added some lines to make it look like it was in the air. And we just kind of did something like this. Something like this. Kind of give it a little bit of, make it look like it's in the air. And the last final touch was we put some lines in our background. So we just kind of made some lines, vertical lines that kind of on our background. Like so. That's just because it was kind of plain. So we gave it some space and filled in those spaces. And basically it should look something like that. And that's how we drew that in class. So do your best. When you're done with this drawing, you're going to take a picture of it and put it in your journal, page 9.